qual è la situazione delle terapie digitali a livello globale? Cosa frena la loro introduzione e quali potrebbero essere invece le loro potenzialità? Ne abbiamo parlato con Jennifer Goldsack, a capo della Digital Medicine Society, che abbiamo incontrato qui a Roma nel corso di un evento che ha fatto il punto proprio sulle terapie digitali. Jennifer, first of all, give us please a brief introduction of the Digital Medicine Society, who you are, what you do, which is the scope of your association.
I'd be happy to. So the Digital Medicine Society is a global nonprofit dedicated to advancing the safe, effective, ethical, and equitable use of digital technology to improve lives. Now, we're certainly not tech determinists. Technology isn't going to solve all of the problems in medical product development and in healthcare, but it offers a powerful new set of tools in the toolbox. The way we work is to convene experts from different disciplines from around the world, from citizen scientists and cybersecurity experts, all the way through different technology experts, different clinical experts, payers, regulators, investors, funders of research. We bring them together to decide what does good look like in terms of the outcomes and the future state in the digital era of health? What is acceptable evidence? How are we thinking about equity? How are we paying for these innovations? We do a lot of applied research. We're thinking about what are the correct evidentiary frameworks. We also do an awful lot of communication and education. It doesn't matter if we're beginning to define the acceptable evidentiary frameworks if they are not broadly understood, if they're not broadly adopted, and if we don't have the capability in the workforce to be able to implement these changes. So we do, alongside the research, we do a lot of communication and education too, to make sure we are bringing the field with us, whether that's government entities or whether it's private industry or whether it's with our academic colleagues.
One of the three pillars of your association is to fill the gaps in terms of lack of evidence. The situation is still the same, and why there is this lack of evidence?
The situation is not the same. We have improved dramatically as a global industry over recent years through work that we have done at the Digital Medicine Society, through work that industry has done, our regulatory colleagues around the world. We are beginning to define what good evidence looks like. The challenge we have now is taking that to scale. We have to think about where the innovation is coming from. Innovation sometimes comes from the tech sector. Tech expects you to move much more quickly than it is possible to gather the evidence of the quality that we require in healthcare. Simultaneously, healthcare systems are complex and they are slow to move. We have to adapt clinical workflows to accept these technologies in order that they aren't burdening clinicians, but they are helping clinicians and they are ultimately helping people. There's a lot that's required in order to scale this. And that doesn't even consider the infrastructure necessary, whether that's flows of data, whether that's data privacy and security, or whether that's the reimbursement mechanisms, how you actually get access to these tools. So I think we are working out very quickly what good evidence looks like. The challenge now is to take it to scale.
Decentralized clinical trials is a good model to study the effect of digital therapeutics?
Yes. Although, as with all decentralized trials, there is no perfect model of trial design. The goal of a decentralized clinical trial is to build the trial around the patient and not the clinic, to meet the patient where they are, as long as we are able to capture high-quality data about the efficacy of that new product, and as long as we are able to keep that patient safe. So it may be sometimes that we can use things like a virtual visit. It may be that we can use flows of data, remote patient monitoring captured during the person's everyday lives. Ideally, all care, whether in the research setting or in the healthcare environment, should be built around the patient and not the clinic in order to give the patients the best experience, in order to optimize access, and also to address many of the challenges we face, like a clinician shortage globally. So yes, I think we should be looking at decentralized models. I also don't think we should force it, where a more hybrid approach would be preferred.
Italy is one of the last public health system, fully universal. In this system, the drugs are reimbursed or not reimbursed, but the market for the most severe diseases, accept only reimbursed products. It is the same for medical devices. So not to be reimbursed is a huge problem here in this country if you want to penetrate the market. Which proof is to provide to healthcare system to be reimbursed, and as happens already in Germany, for example.
The DIGA system in Germany is an excellent model for us to think about. And I think they provide an opportunity to capture real-world data about the effectiveness of your product. And when you show effectiveness, there is a path forward for a permanent reimbursement. Effectively, it's an application of evidence to coverage. And I think that a lot of technology companies, a lot of the developers of these new devices are very enthusiastic about taking an evidence to coverage approach. They want to be able to show that their product is indeed not only showing efficacy, but truly effective during everyday applications. I think that there are two challenges. First of all, we need to think about a sufficiently agile healthcare system that can actually provide access to these new products once they are proven safe in order to determine their efficacy. We also have to build the infrastructure to make sure that they can be accessible to everyone and that we can capture sufficient data. And we need to agree upon what good data and evidence actually looks like. We worked with our colleagues at HIH in Germany. We've published on those evidentiary frameworks. We believe they exist. Now I think we have to have the determination to see this through to scale. We have to make sure that our tech colleagues understand what good evidence looks like, and we have to create a healthcare environment where we are willing to try, as long as we are being thoughtful about the burden on our clinical colleagues. That's where we are now. I do think there is one other challenge, and that's the idea of a single product working in isolation. In the digital era of healthcare, we should be thinking about integrating a variety of different tools with expert clinical coverage, and maybe thinking more about outcomes from a bundle of therapies and treatments, as opposed to carving out an individual payment structure for every tool you use, whether that tool is a digital tool, a traditional molecule, whether it's a visit, and whether that visit is with a physician or another member of the care team. I think we have to think about healthcare differently in the digital era. The first step is to think about evidence to coverage for digital products. I think in the longer term, we have to think about more bundled approaches to care.